There is also noticeable democratic backsliding on the continent that very much mirrors, and here I want to be clear, it is no different than trends we are seeing around the world on every continent. The particulars in Africa, again, repeat and parallel what we are seeing around the world. Our tools for promoting democracy and governance, our tools in the United States are generally our global tools, are in need of update, refreshing, and reconsideration. We need a new toolbox, frankly, when it comes to this century and this new world.
You know, in many of your countries, the civil society, the civic space is shrinking. And as long as we continue to experience this, it becomes difficult to actually expect that democracy will yield anything different from what we are seeing in most of the countries.
Across the continent, Africans retain a very strong attachment to democracy as an aspirational value and continually affirm that they prefer democracy in all circumstances as the best form of government. They reject one-person rule, they reject one-party rule, and there's a softening but still high level of rejection of military rule in terms of values. But in terms of delivery, there's very discouraging findings, and there's a lot of disillusionment.
Some of these actors are actually considering democracy and democratic uprising as an existential threat. So if you look at Gulf countries, they basically have a concern that these uprisings will actually spill over to their backyards. And it's becoming very difficult to sway the positions of actors that see democracy as an existential threat to the regime's survival. This kind of context, I think there are different responsibilities for different actors who need to support democracy. I think the first thing is simply to understand the interests of these actors.
Issues around banditry, issues around terrorism, climate change issues. These are not issues that any one country can single-handedly address. So there's a place for multilateralism today, perhaps much more than in the past. And it's expedient that ECOWAS should, and other African regional organizations should recognize this, should consciously work towards this, but more importantly, put their citizens at the center of everything that they do.
You have to bring it down to Uganda and say, okay, how can we work with the Uganda government and civil society in Uganda to localize this strategy and make it relevant, so that at the end of the day, we are managing the tension that's happening between the democratizing power of social media and also the state trying to control public discourse.